Today we're going to be covering the tragic story of Lil Loaded, a rapper who was making a pretty huge name for himself back in 2019 and 2020, and sadly would take his own life at the age of 20 years old. This is the story of Deshaun Maurice Robinson, aka Lil Loaded. He was born on August 1st, the year 2000, in San Bernardino, California. He would flip-flop from San Bernardino and Dallas, Texas, but he was mostly raised in Texas. At a young age, he was affiliated with the Rolling 60 Crips and eventually did join their gang. Lil Loaded was exposed to the street life at an early age. He lost his brother at just the age of 15 years old, and his brother was 23 at the time. His older brother was practically his father figure.
Nah, really, I ain't gonna lie to you. It turned me up. Made me feel like ain't nobody care about my brother and how we felt about him, so it is what it is.
During this time, his dad was locked up in prison. That means he was pretty much the man of the house. And he claims at just the age of 15, he was already being shot at. And I'm not sure exactly at what age, but he was shot in the hand where he went to a hood doctor, which I'm not talking about a hospital that is just in the trenches. No. He went to a friend's mom's house who yanked out the bullet and stitched him up. I can only assume that he was shot by a 22 because the bullet didn't go all the way through his hand. It was able to be pulled out. He was either shot by a 22, a 17 HMR, or a 9mm from a distance, because if it was a blackout or a 5.56, it definitely would have went through him and killed him, since he was shot in the hand trying to protect his face. He would pick up the mic in 2018 going under the name of YCN Gang Baby, dropping a song called Happy Birthday, and I think it was for his brother who passed away. The quality of the song and the song itself really wasn't the best, but it showed the amount of potential that he had. The meaning for YCN is Young Crip, but the name didn't stick around. He ended up switching it to Lil Loaded, which of course is now the name that he is famous for. He would drop his first music video for the song BOS, but it really wouldn't pull in any views at all. But in 2019, that would all change when he dropped his song Block Baby. He was featured on a guy's channel called Tommy Craze. Shortly after this, the video brung in millions of views. The song currently sits at 70 million views. It's one of his biggest ones he ever released. And he didn't slow down on the grind. He continued to dropping songs like Smoke Today and Gang Unit. Gang Unit would take off as well, and it currently sits at 80 million views. This showed that he wasn't a one-hit wonder. He had the capability of dropping more hit music. He would drop the Block Baby album, and this featured songs like Gang Unit, Out My Body, Teed Up, and of course Block Baby. My favorite track of the album is Out My Body. I remember listening to this on the way to school. That song for sure holds a special place in my heart, but the album was for sure successful. He ended up remaking Block Baby with NLE Choppa that currently got over 100 million views, and would even have songs with people like YG and Kingvon. His music was mostly hard, but he can also have a very melodic sound. He was very versatile, and no one will ever be able to mimic his sound. But unfortunate events would unfold during 2020, and it would lead to the arrest of Lil Loaded. Police arrived to the 7200 block of Cannon Drive, Dallas, Texas, after 2 shots was reported, leaving a man dead in the hospital. The witness of the scene said the victim actually recorded the shooting, and the video showed Lil Loaded sending 2 shots at the victim, leaving the 18-year-old victim shot in the torso, where he later died in the hospital. Shortly after this, Loaded went to Florida, where he found out he had a warrant for his arrest, which then he turned himself in, which was the best thing he could have done, since this whole thing was an accident and he ended up getting manslaughter. Guns aren't exactly toys, and people end up learning that the hard way, just like Lil Loaded. Here's a lesson for every one of y'all watching this video that don't know any gun safety. First off, your finger should not be on the trigger unless you're ready to shoot. And second, if the gun is loaded or not, no matter what, you do not point that gun at anyone. Now, Lil Loaded was released on a $75,000 bond, and I really do wish that was it, but sadly Lil Loaded would take his own life in 2021. He was only 20 years old when he lost his life, and it's very tragic that he took his own life away. Rumors would go around that his girlfriend cheated on him and that's the reason why he killed himself, but the obvious truth is that he was struggling. He was put in a position of life where he lost people to prison and gang violence, and after losing people that was close to him, it was just too much for him to handle. He felt isolated. He felt like he couldn't go to anyone with his problems, and as he built up issues, problems, mistakes that he made in his life, he was put into a depressing state that he wasn't able to express. And unfortunately, he chose that it was time for him to leave, not aware of the thousands of other people he was going to hurt in the process. Like I said, no one can mimic the sound that Lil Loaded had. I remember when Lil Loaded came out, and I quickly fell in love with his music. If you would have told me this is how it was going to end years ago, I would not have believed you. And it sucks that another rapper straight out of Texas ended up losing his life. It sucks that we most likely will never hear a Mexican OT and Lil Loaded song, but at least we got the music that Lil Loaded has given us. He may be gone, but he is not forgotten. Hit the comment section, tell me your favorite song that Lil Loaded has ever released, and if you knew him personally, share a childhood story that you still cherish to this day. Today's suggested music is Out My Body, Emotional Killer, and Link Up. Y'all make sure to subscribe since you made it this far, and y'all stay safe, stay notorious, peace out.